Hello and welcome, my name's Hannah and I'm the C5 nut. Well, I've spoken to the owner of Cecily the C5 and he wants me to go ahead and replace those brake pipes as well as removing the tow bar. Well, I will say I was in a foul mood the other day due to work issues, so I didn't film myself taking a tow bar. I mean, if I did, YouTube would have taken it down. There's a lot of swear words, especially French words. So tow bar is now off and I've now got it in on the other workshop and got it on the ramp. So what I'm going to do, flip the camera around and show you what it's all about. Okay, so basically what I need to do, now the owner has told me that he's changed the brake fluid for the high viscosity stuff and all this thing, so I'm going to try and save as much as I can out of this. So I'll put it into a glass cup or some description. I'm going to do my best to try and save that fluid because apparently it's quite expensive, but what I'm going to try and do is suck as much as I can out of it and then put some of this brake fluid stuff. I'm going to use this as one for making sure that there is no air leaks in the system. You know, when you do brake pipes you tend to lose a bit of fluid, so I'd rather sacrifice something like that rather than, you know, yeah, it's just what it is. Right, now the people down at Euro Car Parts basically saved my, well, I wouldn't save my life, but yeah, I couldn't get hold of these hoses for the you know, for the rear, for the love of money, but the main guys down at Euro Car Parts, that's the number and that's that number. Yeah, Euro Car Parts, yeah, we do have like ups and downs with them, but to get parts, you know, like quite a rare part, especially like this, they're pretty brilliant. Went down to Halfords and got these female connectors. I got some male connectors and obviously some brake pipe and some Muppet. I won't be naming the Muppet is, but I end up buying a new bloody spanner. So lucky enough we need a 9 and 11 mil. The 11s for the actual brake pipe unions, and the 9s, some of these have like the 9 mil, especially on the old bleed nipples. The rears are standard 11s. Right, now this is a big job. I will say, if you're going to try and attempt this at home, good luck. I've done 2 vehicles on a driveway, well actually 2 C5s on a driveway, and yeah, quite annoying, quite a bit of a pain in the butt, but hey, it is what it is. Now I'm very thankful for my boss to let me use the old ramps. So what I'm going to do is get the car up in the air and I'll show you what we need to do. Now you possibly wondering what's going on here. Now if you actually take a nitrate glove, literally one of these nitrate gloves, right, unscrew the cap, place the glove over the top and then put the cap over the top, make sure it's nice and tight. Then what happens is when the level goes down, it causes a vacuum and basically it holds the fluid in there. So you are going to lose a tiny bit of fluid, but in theory you won't lose a lot. Right, let's get the show on the road. Okay, so the car is now up in the air, as you can see. So what we need to do, now most C5s, I mean this one's had a recent exhaust done, so most of them have the back box welded directly to this pipe going all the way to the front. Because this is an aftermarket exhaust, it's got a wonderful clamp, which I'm quite happy about. So on this particular occasion, I can undo this clamp, undo these bolts here, and on either side Yeah, I could do it from the rubbers, but they are a bit of a nightmare. It's just easy enough just to undo the bolts and just let it, you know, hang down. It's not going to hang down too far because obviously it's connected to the old turbo, and it's also got a mount across here. So there's not a lot of weight on this pipe. Now I have sprayed all the areas that I need to work with some penetrating oil. So yeah, once the exhaust just comes off, there is a bolt back here, there's one on the side, there's another one on the front here, there's one roughly about here somewhere underneath this cover, and then obviously another one down on the end. Now the front to rear brake pipe is down on the passenger side, so we've got to undo these clips. Now there is 4 10mm bolts, or like nuts, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Now these are notorious for snapping, so if they do snap, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, and it's just these clips, you only have to turn them 90 degrees and it'll just come straight out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the video, I'm going to disconnect the exhaust, drop the mount, take these covers off, and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, so what I've done is obviously disconnected the old exhaust. I've got the old trusted jack. Now I had issues with some of the bolts for the tank. This side is completely rotten. Yeah, I don't want to try an attempt to move that because yeah, it's quite bad. If it snaps, then I'm kind of stuffed. I've only got the car for a few days. Owner's picking it up in about 3 days time, so I've got to be careful. Overall condition, if you have a look up there, it's not bad at all. The car has, well, basically suffered hardly anything really. On closer inspection, the pipe did have a bit of corrosion, but not excessive. It was only slight corrosion, so I'm going to clean it all up and obviously give it a nice coat of paint. But the flexies we are changing because they're original to the car. Now because I can't get this side down, I'm going to have to remove the anti-roll bar, which is basically 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on that side, and just undo this clip for the old height sensor there. Providing I can get this off, we'll be alright, because up there, that's where the brake pipe is. That's what I've got to try and undo. So yeah, what can I say? I'm quite amazed about those pipes. The last few C5s that I've done, they've always corroded there, but I think this is possibly at some point in its life been garaged for a while. Yeah, bit of the usual corrosion, but nothing excessive. Yes, those nuts did shear, but I'm not too worried about them. Everything else underneath this panel is not bad. Yeah, I did manage to save some of the old bolts here, so some of them did come off, but some of them snapped. So yeah, it's a nice looking car. So yeah, providing I can get the anti-roll bar off, I can change these flexies. Then change the flexies. I'm going to replace these pipes going to the, to the calipers. I'll get them replaced. And then just a general clean up, give the old anti-roll bar a bit of a clean and paint. I'm going to clean up down the side here, give that some paint. Where the old tow bar fixings were, I've got the wheel like wire brush on it and just clean them up. But what I'm going to do is put some sealant in the holes, just to protect the threads a little bit. So you never know, at some point in its future it may have a tow bar again. But yeah, all the electrics and everything else has all been removed. Yeah, I might treat this as well while we're here, get that looking nice and clean. Alright guys, I'll crack on with some work and I'll bring you back. Okay, so here is where I'm at. So I'm starting to loosen off all these, and that'll be fine. Looking at this pipe that goes down to the caliper, that is absolutely fine. Looking closely at this one, now I know I said in my last video that it looks a bit ropey. The thing is, you know, as soon as you touch the corrosion on the pipe, depending on how bad the corrosion is, if you were to touch it and then all of a sudden the pipe starts leaking, it looks a bit, you know, I didn't really want to touch any pipes unless I know that I've got all the equipment to actually then replace it, just in case it does go. Again, looking closely on these, apart from the flexies, I'm going to change the flexies, and then basically I think these pipes will be alright. They just a slight corrosion, but these are quite thick walls anyway, so I'm fairly happy that these pipes will be fine. I will clean them up and give them a nice coat of paint. Now you notice that the anti-roll bar is being removed, and obviously the old little height sensor. Now, because I know I'll be doing some work in the suspension area, the battery was disconnected. So if you don't disconnect the battery and you start playing with this sensor, you're asking for trouble. I mean, the car will go up and down and do its usual thing, and you know, so if you ever touch the anti-roll bar or the sensor, please make sure you disconnect the battery. So brake related, all I'm going to do is change the flexies. Everything else is all spot on. Now the bolts to take the anti-roll bar off, you need a T55. Now 3 out of the 4 bolts came off lovely. There was one bolt that was being a bit of a nightmare, and I had to use a bloody great big scaffolding pole. But I've cleaned the bar up, gave it a nice coat of paint, a nice thick layer of coat of paint. I'm going to leave this to dry while I'm working on the car. It's going to have probably about 2, maybe 3 coats, so it's all nice, and well, basically all nice. So once I've done the brake pipes, I'm going to sort out the underside of here. Don't know if you can see that, there's a few rusty bits going across, a bit of corrosion going on, so I think now's the time. You know, now I've got the opportunity, I'm going to treat them and also treat this as well. Yeah. Well guys, I'm going to crack on and do some work, and I'll bring you back when things are getting done. Okay guys, so the flexies have now been done, brand spanking new ones, and you notice one thing, it's looking black. Yeah, I managed to get in there. Okay, there's a couple of bits I've got to do just on here, but I can do that when the tank goes back up. Yeah, not a lot of people actually know this, but the subframe on the rear of the C5 is all alley. It's a alley box, so I've quickly cleaned it. I've still got 1 or 2 bits to clean around here, which I'll do, but look at this. Now I'm going to go and get a torch so you can actually see it a bit better. There it is. Alright, the old trusty torch. Look at this, including under there. Oh, nice and nice. Okay, I've got a little bit to do above the exhaust, so I'm going to have to pull that down. But look at that. You know, under. Yeah, I just went a bit nuts with it really. Some bits are still drying. I've gone in there with it. Get the torch out the way. Now it's a bit annoying that I can't actually take this bottom part of the tank down just to get into the corners. A little bit here that I've got to do, but again I'll do that when the tank's up. But yeah, I haven't just done the back, I've done underneath here as well. Look at this. Oh, shiny, shiny. I did the pipes as well. Shiny, shiny, lots of shiny. Not too worried about the heat shield because it's always warm in that area anyway. They don't really corrode, believe it or not. It's only on the corners that corrode, but the center of the C5 is all spot on. I did do a little bit on this side as well until I came up to the panel, and I'm gonna have to really stop myself, but I just can't fight the urge. I'm gonna have to pull this panel off and paint underneath there as well. There's no point me just doing one side and not the other side, is it? So yeah, I'll be doing that as well. But I just wanted to give you like an update, should I say. Yeah, I've still got to bleed the brakes, but I'll do that in a minute. Anti-roll bar, it's at about I think it's had about 4 coats so far. Look at this. Oh, shiny, shiny. So, right, yeah. I think I might be high with all these, with the fumes from the paint. So, I think I might take a break for a minute and, yeah, stop being high as a kite, I suppose. Right. Tea time. Okay, well, I've now taken off the second panel and it's not too bad under here. Okay, there's a few bits of rust here and there, especially on this corner. We're going to treat that and get this cleaned up and painted. So not too bad actually. Yeah, I've seen worse. Right, I'm going to give this thing a bit of a quick clean and get it painted. Okay guys, so I've taken all the plastics off, I cleaned them, hence the water on the floor. Yeah, I bet you guys can't guess what I've done. Oh god, gotta love this car. Right, recap: exhaust back on using the proper sealant, pipes all done, anti-roll bar done. This is one side, gleaming, all nice and black, you know, including all this bit here. All that is all nice and shiny, shiny, shiny. Yeah, got the panel off, obviously you know about that. Again, nice and shiny. Just in case you're wondering what this thing actually is, it's a fuel cooler. So you've got the main pipe that goes from the tank to the engine, and because it goes through a lot of compression and all that stuff, sometimes the fuel can be quite hot coming back into the tank. So it goes through one of these, which is an oil, well basically it's a diesel cooler or fuel cooler, whatever you want to call it. Just cools down the diesel before it goes back into the tank. Look, shiny, 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 shiny. So you can just tell on how shiny it is by, you know, the you know, from the torch. I'm still a bit annoyed about this corner, and I could not get rid of that bolt to come off. Yeah, without snapping it. But hey, you can only do so much, can't you? Oh, tripping over the ramp. Again, anti-roll bar, gleaming. I will say to the owner at some point, this little link bar, you want to change it. It's a bit dry in places, but... And look how shiny the subframe is. Okay, I didn't clean this bit, but that's something to be done at a later date. Look at that pipe. So it will need some suspension work, like pipes and stuff. Shiny, shiny. Yeah, You guys seen up there? I've done all of that. All up there. It's just nice and clean. Well, yeah. Obviously, I'm all dirty. I really need a shower tonight. My arms are hurting like a bitch, but see, I want to be known like in the Citroen world for C5s. Obviously, you know, we all got our little quirks, but you know, when it comes to just zoom out a little bit. Can I do it? No. Stupid phone. Yeah, it's just, you know, there's so many people out there who might know the C5, but not as much as myself. Yeah, it's crazy that just looking, you know, just looking on that there, even on the ramp it looks beautiful. You know, it's just amazing. Again, I don't know if it's just the fumes, because it's very fumey in here, especially with all the paint and stuff. But you know, it's just amazing. Really is amazing. See, it's smiling. It's happy. Yeah, I've definitely been in the workshop too long. You know, it's just an amazing car. Absolutely amazing. And I can gladly say that this is one of stupid phone. Right, this is going to be one of like a true good example of a car. You know, I've done my bit. You know, okay, it needs a few other bits and pieces done to it, but nothing major. You know, okay, the brake pipe, that might be classed as major, but you know, it's stuff that we can still get, which is, you know, fortunate enough really. But there's other parts we can't get. So you know, there's people like myself and Paul Breeze Roberts. He's another one who seems to collect C5s just as much as me. But without, you know, me and him, and probably one or two others, you know, without ourselves, you know, these cars don't really have much of a future. But I think this car deserves, you know, to be amongst with the rest. You know, okay, it may not be as expensive as a DS or a 2CV or anything like that, but you know, this is like a modern classic. You know, Mark 1 modern classics. Yeah, they are going really rapidly over the next, you know, within the last year or so. You know, I've known quite a few cars that are just gone. Okay, I might have bought a few, but you know, what can you do? Right, I'm gonna go for a smoke. Okay guys, so I've now put all the plastics back on. All of that is all back on. Yeah, all I've got to do really is bleed the brakes, and then this car can go back to its owner. So, what are we waiting for, eh? Okay, I might have 3 days before the owner comes, but watch it go down. Alright, we might be here a while, so give me a couple of minutes and I'll bring you back. Okay guys, so obviously the car's back on its wheels, taking the rear wheels off to then bleed it. Now normally you would bleed the furthest part of it, so basically because the master cylinder is down on the passenger front, so if you were to do a full complete bleed system, what you want to do is passenger rear, then driver's front, and then passenger front, and you do that about 3 or 4 times to get all the air out the system. Now, because I've only changed those flexibles, I haven't really touched the front brakes at all. So because it's only those little short ones, and my old trick with the old glove thing, believe it or not, virtually hardly any fluid actually came out, and I've still got a reservoir full of fluid. So all I had to really do is obviously bleed this side first, and then bleed this side second. Now I've already done the bleeding side of things. It's all fine. There's no air bubbles anywhere. It's all spot on. I kind of cheated really, because I got one of these. Now you can use it without putting air through it. You know, you can just connect the pipe up and pump it a few times and sort of off you go sort of thing. But yeah, I kind of did that, to be honest. But if you are on your own and you are bleeding a whole complete system, then you can rig it up to some airline, and it basically just mimics, you know, the person at the front pumping the pedal. Basically, it just sucks the fluid through the pipes. So I can't really show you much else other than I'm going to chuck the wheels back on and then torque them up. Obviously, torquing wheels up are really important, guys. Don't use the old windy gun, because the settings are different to either when it's got low pressure on a compressor, or even if you use a battery one. I think you find if you've got a fully charged battery and you were to torque the wheels up, then you'll find that the torque setting's completely different to when the battery's like half charged or even flat. So always make sure you use a calibrated torque bar, and it needs to be calibrated every single year. Because I'm a professional motorhome, well, I wouldn't say technician, I wouldn't even say mechanic, but I'm master of all trades on anything to do with motorhomes. You can understand the reason why I've got all these tools. But I know you guys at home may not have that luxury, but if you go down to Halfords, you can pick yourself up with like a cheap sort of torque bar that will do what it needs to do for something like 40 quid. My last video brought the attention of Hubnut, and especially Richard from Up and Down. I haven't physically spoken to them, even though that would be nice, but I have messaged them, and turns out the exhaust that was him. Yeah, don't understand why, but hey, we all have our quirks on getting things done. So yeah, and Hubnut actually confirmed to me in regards to the dash that this car does read a bit high on the old panel, the speedo cluster. So that's, I'm glad to find that out now. But yeah, so regards to temperatures and all that stuff, everything what people have had in the past with this car, it rings true. So I could have a look into it. I think that might be a video for another day. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, right, I'm going to put the wheels on and I'll bring it back. Okay guys, so the car is now back on its wheels. Just doing final checks. Look how gleaming this engine is. Yeah, love it. So coolant, let's go around and check the coolant. Oh, it's got coolant. Right, I can't remember if I topped this up or not. I think I'll put a little bit more in there. Didn't lose too much in the way of brake fluid. It's that high temperature stuff. I don't really have any to hand, so I'll let the owner know of that. But yeah, I didn't lose a lot I think there's about 60% left in there. Right, now what you reckon, guys? This oil, do you reckon it's black? Nice and clean, actually. Nice and clean oil. You sort of get that sort of golden colour. I mean, the light isn't brilliant in there. Let's just go outside. Look how clean that is. It may show that it's quite high up on the dipstick. It's not. It's just I haven't. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm trying to keep my hands still so you guys can see how clean it is. You know, nice and clean oil there. Yep. So that's my final checks done. Yeah. That black mark is driving me nuts. I think I might polish that out before this car goes. So that might be a job for tomorrow. Nice looking engine. Right. Let's see if she starts up. So obviously I've reconnected the battery. Get the old light lock button. That should go out. Not quite. Let's just hit the button. That's better. The immobiliser's deactivated. If your buttons don't work on the key, best thing to do is just leave the ignition switched on for 5 minutes, and then you find that it will deactivate itself anyway. Right, so it's out of gear. Yay! Runs sweet as a nut. Gonna pump up the pedal. Nice and solid pedal. That's what we like to see. Yeah. Nice solid pedal. Lovely. Love it. Love it. As you can see, it's getting a bit on her now. Must be about 6 o'clock, I think. Well, I'm going to go off to my mum's and have a shower. But before I do that, I'll quickly video edit this video and get it online soon as, so you guys can see what I've been up to today. Right guys, this is where I'm going to finish the video, really, I think. Yep, that will do. Right, so guys, I'm going to leave the video right here. So if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And just may, I might make another video. Anyway, take care guys, see you soon.